life, human rights, women's rights, and why the sexual violence against women and children are being repeated over and over again through the example of the largest case of human trafficking and sexual slavery by a single government that happened in 20th century, which is the comfort women issue. My name is Phyllis Kim. I am the Executive Director of Comfort Women Action for Redress and Education. We are a community organization based in Los Angeles. We try to promote the history and justice and advocacy for the former victims of the military sexual slavery by Japan during World War II.
To remember comfort women, to remember the grandmas, ensure that this won't happen again. And yes, it's dark and it's not nice and it's uncomfortable, but through that uncomfortableness, you could break through and find beauty. The Museum of Social Justice, our mission is to tell the neglected stories of the diverse communities of Los Angeles, those who are often left out of history. And so comfort women is such an important issue that honestly most US citizens don't know about. We're not taught in high school, and it's been great to work with Phyllis Kim and CARE to make this exhibition so we could teach high school students and also just adults and the rest of the communities of LA. I understand why it's difficult for high school teachers to teach the history of comfort women, because human trafficking is not a nice thing. It's a difficult thing to talk about, and also to teach the world so we don't repeat our past. I think that's the most important thing. Just looking around and putting up this exhibition, you see how resilient they are, how much of fighters they are. You see the magnitude of what the Japanese Imperial Army did to women, young girls, and many didn't survive, but those who have survived, it's so brave for them to step forward and try to make change.
I met Grandma, one of the survivors of the Japanese military sexual slavery system. She came to the US to help the campaign. So at the time, I was a professional interpreter. And being the first one who hears her story right next to her, it was a very powerful experience. And since then, whenever other grandmas visited the United States, whenever possible, I try to help as well. So I sort of created a very special bonding with the victims. But as a woman, I felt like this issue was really close to home, and I really felt powerful that these grandmas were not shying away, they were not hiding, they were brave, courageous to speak up, and they were doing this not just for themselves, but in order to prevent the same tragedies happening to the next generation. It was really, really powerful. I always am amazed how much courage it would take for a woman, no matter the age of her. I could feel the pain of speaking of the experience that she never wants to remember again, but she has to relieve the pain every time she gives the testimony. But she does that courageously. And then after that, at night, she gets sick. She gets headache, she gets nightmare because of all those memories and pain that comes back to her during the day. It was a commitment, it was a courage, it was love.
일본군 성노예제 문제라고 하는 것을 처음 들었을 때 정말 이런 일을 사람들이 범죄를 기획하고 그 범죄의 피해자들이 다시금 용기를 내서 이 문제를 해결하기 위해서 싸우고 그런 것들을 알게 되었을 때 너무 큰 충격을 받았었고요. 처음 들었을 때. 그래서 저희는 일본군 성노예제 문제의 정의로운 해결을 위한 다양한 활동들을 하고 있습니다. 예를 들면 수요일에 매주 1992년 1월 8일부터 시작된 수요 시위를 32년간 이어서 지금 활동을 하고 있고요. 그리고 생존자 지금 현재 9분 정도 남아 계신데 그분들을 찾아뵙고 연락드리고 하면서 지원을 해드리고 있고요. 그리고 이 문제 해결을 위한 법적 소송, 그리고 국내 연대, 국제 연대, 유엔과의 연대, 유엔 국제 활동 이런 활동들을 진행하고 있습니다.
정부는 전쟁 범죄를 인정하고 피해자들에게 공식 사죄하고 법적으로 배상하라.
배상하라! 배상하라! 배상하라!
하나, 일본 정부는 역사 왜곡을 중단하고 올바르게 기록하고 교육하라. 하나, 일본 정부는 평화의 소녀상 철거 로비를 즉각 중단하라.
중단하라! 중단하라! 중단하라!
지박선 할머니 아주 용기 있는 증언, 그리고 서울에서 하시고 그 다음에 3개월 뒤에 도쿄에 가서 하셨어요. 그렇죠? 그러면서부터 공식적으로 내가 바로 일본군 위안부였다. 내가 바로 증거다. 이렇게 말씀하시고 이제 그 다음부터 본물이 터지듯이 늘어났어요.
Growing up, I know the story of Comfort Women from movies, from social media, from the government promoting, and it was a surprise to me when I come here and realize a lot of people do not know about Comfort Women. A lot of them are passing away, they're no longer here, and I just feel like once all these people who remember and experience the history are truly gone, there's no chance for any one of us to remember the history correctly and say what it has happened before.
The first Comfort Women Memorial in the United States in 2010 in the East Coast. So those who campaigned for the House Resolution 121 in the West Coast wanted to build a memorial for the Comfort Women in California. So that's when we formed an organization, and long story short, we were able to unveil the Peace Statue, Peace Monument in Glendale, California on its public Central Park. But in 2014, City of Glendale was sued by the history deniers of some Japanese Americans who wanted the monument removed from the park. So I became more involved in helping Glendale fighting the lawsuit and helping community to understand the issue and bring support. 2019, we changed our name KAFC to CARE, Comfort Women Action for Redress and Education, to focus more on educational aspect, as well as to bring more awareness about the issue in the United States through advocacy and education.
I think it's an interesting topic. It was quite a long time after World War II before I think there was much discussion of this. That on one hand, people in places like South Korea and the Philippines and China want to talk about and clear the air about and get it out there and get the truth out, particularly as people get older and they want to see their experiences represented.
I want to thank the grandmas, because without them, their resilience and their transformation from victims to activists, this wouldn't be possible. So thank you. And now I'm going to introduce Phyllis Kim.
When we created this exhibition, we wanted to convey the voices of the grandmas. We worked to include the issue, Comfort Women issue, in California curriculum, 10th grade history and social science framework. And it is now part of the curriculum, but not many teachers, know about it. It's not taught enough in the classroom. So we wanted to create something that help teachers to bring this issue into classrooms, or send the students here so that students can take a look at the exhibition, and it will be on a 1-hour lesson plan.
피해자들의 역사가 없는 것으로 한다고 해서 없어지는 게 아니거든요. 그대로 존재하는 건데 결국은 이제 우리가 그런 것들을 잊고 기억하지 않는 이상은 또 다시 그런 똑같은 비극을 저지를 수 있는 가능성을 크게 하는 거랑 마찬가지거든요. 그러니까 기억한다고 하는 것은 우리가 나쁜 것을 기억하고 그걸 극복하려고 노력했던 것까지 함께 기억이 되는 거기 때문에 그 미래에는 다시는 그런 비극적인 사건이 일어나지 않도록 하는 데에 기여를 하기 위해서 기억을 하는 거거든요. 네, 어떤 사회든지 모두가 평등하면 좋겠지만 그 안에서는 소수가 있고 약자가 분명히 있게 되는데 우리는 그 역사들을 기억해야 하는 거예요. 그들이 존재했었다는 것을 기억해야 하기 때문에 그렇기 때문에 이제 20세기에 있었던 약자들의 역사를 계속해서 기억해야 한다라고 하는 것입니다.
It's just really inspiring and beautiful. And even though this topic is not beautiful, the grandmothers, what they're doing, what CARE is doing, that the Museum of Social Justice gets to be part of that in any way, that's really beautiful. And I think that's important to share. It's important for those stories to be told because we have more in common than we have differences. And through oral history, through storytelling, through just sitting down and breaking bread, you really realize that we are one community and that together we're stronger, and being silent about something allows an issue to continue on. And what Comfort Women, what the grandmothers have done, what CARE is doing is to break that silence, to show the world, to show communities that together we can make change.
People want justice. People want justice for the Comfort Women. There are thousands of Japanese military documents that show how the government controlled and involved and created and managed the comfort stations, largest network of brothels on the war zones during World War II. Korean court recently rendered another decision for the Comfort Women against the Japanese government to pay reparations for the Comfort Women victims, survivors and their families. Japanese government is denying all responsibility, all legal responsibility. They say they feel responsible for moral responsibility and they feel remorseful, but that's not what this issue is about. It's the state responsibility that has made the issue so huge, so large, and so grave human rights violation in such a large scale. So that's what the grandmas have been fighting for over 30 years, but they still have not gotten the justice.
And then on the other hand, there are elements in Japanese society and Japanese politics that don't really want this to be discussed. They engage in either sort of denialism or say, it was a long time ago. We don't really need to talk about that.
I think it's just so important for us to remember the history of the Comfort Women is no different from the reason why we need to remember the Holocaust and try to bring some accountability from the perpetrator government. I mean, we see that happening all over the world. Anywhere where there's war, there are women and children going through sexual violence. We really need to focus on, how women are treated during war. People tend to think that, rape during war is normal. It's what happens. No, it does not have to be normal. It shouldn't be normal. I think we need to demand our government to do the right thing. That's our responsibility. If we stay quiet, if we say nothing, the history will not find justice by itself.
I think that we need to face the truth of the past. Every country has some dark sides, some bad things that have happened in the past, things that, if you think about them today, should not have happened.
It doesn't happen automatically. There has to be a struggle. There has to be demand, and there has to be urgency. There has to be, request and campaigns and pressure to the politicians to do the right thing, to urge Japanese government to accept the responsibility and offer a public and sincere apology and never deny again.
Being honest about the information is important in terms of knowing yourselves and knowing what has happened and what can happen, and being, and worrying, and we should worry about how our politicians behave, how our militaries behave, and think about how we can make the world